Good morning, everybody. Welcome back here. It is Saturday morning, mid-Saturday morning, 10:32 a.m. on my clock, and I am excited to get back into some writing today and to be here with you guys as I work on a project that I've been working on. And it's interesting. It's been a busy week of work, so I haven't been as attentive to my writing as I should be. And unfortunately, that was the case almost for the full week. And I did get some writing done last night, but the week kind of caught up with me and just knocked me out, in the 11th round. So I was floored with an 11th round knockout, even though I was writing in my current project that I'm working on. So I took the knockout punch late yesterday, and but not before I set up this broadcast last night, just to make sure that you guys were aware that I was going to be with you here this morning. Hello, Austin Gonzalez. Appreciate you coming through. I am Jacinto Gonzalez. Okay, well, glad to have you here with me this morning. It's always a pleasure to have people join me. It's just a opportunity for me to write and to share a little bit, whether people watch it live while it's happening right now, or people choose to go to the channel and watch it after the fact and to take in some of what I'm talking about here. And so while I don't do as many AuthorTube videos where I shoot and edit, this is going to be basically my AuthorTube content for the most part. So, but it's fun. I mean, the channel is divided into two parts, BookTube and AuthorTube. And most of the filmed, edited videos are going to tend to be BookTube videos, while many of these live streams that'll be posted to the channel will be more along the lines of AuthorTube types of content. So that's kind of what is going to happen. That has what's been happening on the channel and what will continue to happen moving forward. So I do want to throw some different questions out at people today as people come in. And one of them is, what projects are you working on today? Because I know a lot of you are working on various types of projects. Some of you are working on poetry. Some of you are working on nonfiction books. Others are working on fiction. And if you're working on fiction, it can be a number of different genres that you could be working on in terms of your writing. But no matter what you're working on, I just hope that you are working on something to let your imagination get the much needed exercise that it wants and deserves. So continue to write and to develop content. That's something that's just going to be good for you. It's good for the heart, good for the soul, good for the imagination. The imagination, like many muscles in your body, needs, wants, and deserves a level of exercise. So all that said, the project that I am working on today is the project that I've been working on now for several weeks. And let me pull it up right now because I should have had the word count. I should have had the word count before I jumped on here. But since I am slacking this morning because I had a phone call that I had to take just before broadcast, I am a little bit behind here. So I am working on a horror story project, and my word count for the horror story project is 24. Hold on a second. Let me get the right number here. All right, here we go. 24,692 words. So let me post that real quick. So that's where I'm at. So 24,692 words. I've been working on this project for several weeks now. I haven't necessarily been writing at a breakneck speed because there's just a lot of things that are going on right now with more things opening up during due to with COVID. I've been involved in some projects that I had not been involved in as much over the last 9 to 10 months. So that's a good thing in some ways, and a challenging thing in some other ways. So, but that's where I'm at. 24,692 words. It is a horror story. It is set at a summer camp. I know that is cliche to a lot of you because that's so typical, especially those of you who are of a certain age and you remember a lot of 1980s slasher movies and how many of them took place at summer camps. And so, there's some documentaries out there on the horror franchise Friday the 13th, which is one of my favorites, which is my favorite horror franchise. And they talk about the reasons why they chose the summer camp setting for Friday the 13th. And so I always wanted to set a horror story at a summer camp. So I'm excited about it. And it's just a little different project. I haven't really written horror per se. So this is a little bit different. But, it's the horror template is pretty straightforward. It's not, anything that's just, again, out of the ordinary of what you've probably seen before in countless movies. So to help me with developing this story, I've been reading more horror stories, horror books. And so you'll see some of that. You'll see me talk about that a little bit on my weekly reading wrap up, which I'll probably film tonight before my hair starts growing back a little bit. Before I need another haircut, I'm going to probably film that. But I was reading a horror story. It was actually pretty entertaining, a horror story. And horror is an interesting type of book to read and even more interesting to write. And as some of you remember, if you read my reading wrap up for January, I read a couple of horror stories because I was trying to get a feel for how they do the kills in the story and how they set it up and the backstory and just how they create a scary scene, I guess is probably a better way of saying it in a less direct way. So I was looking to kind of study up on that so I can create those kind of scenes and just expand my writing capabilities just a little bit more. So I've been having fun with that. So anyway, I'm at 24,692 words, which again, I'm feeling pretty good about. So again, let me know what projects you guys are working on. Hopefully you guys are working on some projects. You're having fun with them and you are making progress toward your goals, whatever your goals are. And speaking of goals, I've talked a little bit in recent weeks that 2021 is the year where I want to focus more on publishing some of these projects that I've been working on. And I have published some in the past, and I have updated and will continue to do some updated editions of those because they're not my best projects, the ones that I've published. Some of them I held back. My best projects I've held back trying to get them traditionally published. But, I think self-publishing, I don't think there's the stigma with self-publishing that maybe there used to be once upon a time. And so I think you're seeing more people with maybe traditional publishing doors closing perhaps a little bit. I think more people are looking at self-publishing as not only a reasonable alternative, but in some ways, perhaps a better alternative. In the sense that you will have certain controls that you would not have if you successfully went the traditional publishing route. So I have not been able to successfully go the traditional publishing route. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but it hasn't happened to this point. So I am definitely studying up on the self-publishing route so that when I do go in that direction, and I know I will, even if I do get or traditionally published at some point, I probably will still explore some self-publishing opportunities for some of the stories that maybe aren't as appealing to a traditional publisher, but they're appealing to me. That's why I wrote it. So that said, I'm going to start getting into some writing right now. So let me pull up the clock here and let me take that banner off. So y'all don't need to see that. I'll take that off real quick. And this will be writing sprint number 1. So writing sprint number one, getting ready for that. So everybody who is going to be writing, please go ahead and get started on your project. If you're reading, get either get started or continue with your reading, and just drop any questions that you guys may have or comments that you guys may have in the chat. I'll get to that at some point. You'll see the ticker scrolling along the bottom. So if you could hit the like button for the video and hit the subscribe button as well. All subscribers are definitely appreciated, and all likes are appreciated. It's there's a lot that goes into it, and so if you could be so kind as to drop a like, that'd be great, and it'd be much appreciated. So, all right, with that said, let me go ahead and get started. I'm going to hit the start button on the clock, and we can get this party started. Okay, so that was writing sprint number one in the books. Let me go ahead and tally it up to see how many words I was able to get in. And I think I did pretty well. So let's see. Oh, I did. So for sprint number one, I typed 656 words. So I got into a pretty good rhythm there with the first sprint. And what I am working on that allowed me to get in that good rhythm was I'm doing a podcast. A podcaster investigator is on the case here in my story. And so I am basically transcribing one of her podcasts to help in with the storytelling. So I got on a nice little rhythm right there. And one of the best feelings when you're writing is like you know exactly what you want to say and you get a nice groove and it's just flowing. And so I was flowing and that's how I got in 656 words. That might be a record or pretty close to a record for me for one of the 15-minute sprints here. So 656 words. Again, it was just flowing. It felt really good. I didn't have any questions about what was going on. It was just like, just let the rhythm hit them. So it was really good to get in a nice little groove there. Who is your favorite film director? That's an interesting question. I don't know. There's so many good ones. Steven Spielberg is a good one. Trying to think of some other ones. Brian De Palma is good. Spike Lee is good. Nate Parker are good. Clint Eastwood is really good. There's a lot of good ones out there. There's probably a ton that Ava DuVernay is very good. Francis Ford Coppola is good. There's just a lot of good ones out there. So kind of hard for me to pick one. There's just so many good ones. I certainly hope so. That is definitely the goal. It's feeling really good right now, and I thought about the podcast thing just to expand on that a little bit more, and that was a lot of fun because I read the book The Night Swim, which I got from Book of the Month. And I wasn't expecting very much from it, but I ended up liking it. And I liked the use of the podcast. And then I thought about the Riley Sager book, Home Before Dark. And part of that book was a book within the book that was written by one of the characters. And I thought that was an interesting way of telling a story within a story. So I decided to go that route and decided to have a little bit of fun with it. So we'll see how it goes. The podcaster character, she is a very she has a history there, and she is not just podcasting for the sake of podcasting. There's a definite agenda there that she is working on, and it'll be revealed over the course of the story. So I'm definitely having some fun with it. This is going to be a really interesting story. I got a lot of characteristics of a story that I like, that I've seen in other horror stories, and I've been able to blend them together without making it overwhelming. So that's been a fun part of what I've been doing. So, all right. So that said, let me go ahead and get the clock back up here. We are just past 30 minutes. So I'll probably be here for another hour or so, which means I'll probably get in at least another couple of sprints while answering any questions that anybody has, should they jump on. And let me go ahead and get the clock back up here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back into it because I was in a nice little rhythm here. So this will be writing sprint number two coming up to get things going here. Oh, look at this. Steph is here with us in the building. One of my favorite people in all of BookTube land. And I am so happy to see Steph. I hope you're doing well. I still love watching your videos. So, here for some sprinting. Maybe you're going to be doing something artistic too at the same time. Maybe, just maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I'm just here having a lot of fun. Again, writing horror, which is very very different. I've written thrillers before. I've written suspense, but I've never written like a true like 1980s horror slasher story. And then the one that I just read, gosh, let me. What was it called? It's called the. Oh, geez, let me go find my. Where's my Goodreads at? I'm sorry for those of you I know who don't like Goodreads anymore, but let me see. I gotta remember the name of the story. It was a novella. It was a very short. Um, Whether you call it short and sweet, I don't know. It was actually kind of written slightly satirical as well. So, by the way, for my Goodreads reading challenge, 2021 reading challenge, I pledged 55 books, and so far through February 13th, I have completed 12. So I'm at about 22% of the way here. And Triple Axe is what the story was called, by the way, in case you were at all curious. And it was a horror story using the adult film industry as a backdrop there. So take what you will from that. All right, let's see. I am doing well. Hope you are doing well also. No arts today, filling out scholarship applications. Excellent, excellent. For me, as somebody who is very familiar with higher ed, who has worked in higher ed, does work in higher ed, I should say. Too many people don't invest the time into seeking out and applying for scholarships. So I wish you all the best in applying for scholarships and just being on the lookout for it. Many scholarships, I've seen over the years that just go unclaimed because sometimes people just don't want to put the effort into scholarships. I don't know if they just don't think they're going to get it, or they just are, I don't know, fatalistic or something about student debt or something. Never really could figure it out. Love a good slasher. I would love to read it. It's going to be fun. I'm actually, when I first started it, I did start it as it was going to be fan fiction. I've said this before. It was going to be fan fiction. And then, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, 1,500 to 2,000 words in, something like that. I started thinking that I wanted to just claim it as my own. And so I kind of scrapped the fan fiction part and decided to just jump into my own story, make it my own story. And I added different elements to it that I liked from horror books that I've read and horror movies that I've seen. At my age, I'm a person who was watching at a young age, probably too young in the mid to late 80s. I was watching horror movies when I probably shouldn't have been watching them, but I was watching them anyway because that's just what we did. We probably listened to music that we should have been listening to back then as well. But I watched a lot of horror movies and always just been a fan of horror movies. And so I'm like, it's about time for me to write a horror story. So, yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's connect on Goodreads. I just love, one of the cool things about Goodreads, and I know some people like it, some people don't like it, and I've heard the reasons why, and some I get, some I don't. But one thing I love about Goodreads is that I can look through Goodreads and I can see what other people are reading, and I've gotten a lot of good book reading ideas based on what I've seen other people whose opinions I respect are reading. And so that's made it a lot of fun for me to go through Goodreads and just get tremendous book reading topics or ideas, authors that I might not have otherwise found. So But the one thing I will say about Goodreads, you got to do better by me. I keep entering these book giveaways, and I have not won one book giveaway, and I know people who have won multiple times. So hook me up, Goodreads. Let me win one of these giveaways, just one. Hopefully it's for a book that I really want. I actually only jump in usually when it's a book that I really want. I'm not one of those people that just like every time I see a giveaway, I just jump into it. So, but I've always wanted to win a Goodreads giveaway. So I enjoy that about Goodreads also. Plus, I am too lazy to input all my read books on the app. What was the one? What's the one that everybody's pushing now? I just forgot. I signed up for it and I forgot it already. There's a new one. There's a new Goodreads substitute. I can't remember what it is now. It'll pop in my head at some weird time. It'll just pop in my head. But there's one that a lot of people are pushing right now. I've seen them pushing it on Twitter that this is an alternative to Goodreads. Still not totally clear why everybody's down on Goodreads. Storygraph. Yes, that's what it is. Storygraph. Yep. And I kind of, dipped my toe in it, so to speak, just to see what it was all about. It was cool. There's nothing wrong with it. Although I have to admit, I kind of feel like I hope for Storygraph's sake that it's not like trying to start an alternative to Facebook, where Facebook is just such a juggernaut that can't be like sunk, and you're just treading water, Google Plus. So no offense, Google, if you're out there listening. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. If it really starts to take off, then maybe I'll, look at it a little bit more closely and see if that's something that I want to get into a little bit more. I know there's a way that you can import everything from Goodreads over to Storygraph. I think I tried it, and I don't think it was quite as simple as they build it to be. I won't go so far as to say false advertising, but it was a little bit more complex than they made it out. It's one of those things like, oh, you can do it so simply. Oh my gosh, you can just, and then you start to do it and you're like, not quite as simple as you made it out to be. Let's see. The Exorcist is my favorite horror movie. I haven't seen The Exorcist in a long time. I might have to see if I can find that. It's been a long time since I've seen The Exorcist. Steph says The Exorcist is fantastic. Also listening to music that we should when we are young. It's changed as a trend since we were kids. Yeah. It's we used to, oh my goodness. We used to, this was back in the, geez, I'm showing my age here, but I'm going to show my age. This is back in the day when you'd have the cassette tapes and you'd have the, I got one right here on my desk here. When you'd have the cassette tapes here, and this is a really old one. This is Chicago 17. It's actually one of my favorite albums of all time. That's not necessarily important to the story, but when you'd have the dual cassette player and your buddy had a tape, and then you just get a dub of the tape, and I'm sure the record industry is probably watching me right now, kind of side eye, but that's what we did back in the day. And so, somebody would get a tape that they weren't supposed to have, and then they would share it with everybody else. And then we would listen to what we weren't supposed to be listening to, and we'd been enjoying what we weren't supposed to be enjoying because we weren't supposed to be listening to what we're listening to. And so on and on the cycle went, and we were able to listen to some music that for some people is classic stuff nowadays. So that's what we did. I wouldn't call it a criminal empire, but we did have fun at the same time. Let's say, not quite so far as 8-tracks. Although I will say, I remember it being a really young kid. My dad had this really cool 8-track player. Let me see if I can. This is actually just funny enough that I can tell you. I've seen a picture of it. Let me see if I can find it here. This is going to be funny. I know it's going to pop up here. Usually whenever I do this, I find it like really quickly here. Okay. See this. Oh, there we go. I just found it. You're supposed to, hold on. Let me pull it over here real quick. This is going to be funny. There it is right there. So This is the one right here that my dad had. We had this one, and I just thought that was the coolest thing. Look at that right there. It's got headphones right there too. Look at that 8-track player right there, man. Look at this thing. This thing looks like something. Looks like a robot or something like that. Look at that thing. This is the one we had when I was a kid. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, so 8 tracks. There's your walk back into history. Boom boxes, yes, we did have those. Yeah, kids don't necessarily need those nowadays. Everybody's got AirPods now, so yeah, it is definitely a different era nowadays, for sure. So anyway, there's that little walk back into yesteryear for those of you who were interested, and even if you weren't interested, it's too bad because it's my broadcast. All right, let's see. No, kids do not know the struggle these days. You are absolutely 100% right about that one. Let's see. Nazy, welcome, Nazy. Glad to see you. Is Rosemary's Baby considered horror? I'm not into horror, but like that movie. I've never seen Rosemary's Baby. Interesting. I have never seen that. Let me hold on a second. While we're here and we have the power of the internet. Let's see, Rosemary's Baby. See if I can pull it up here. 1968. Wow. Let's see. Oh, it's a Roman Polanski film. Wait a minute, I may have seen this. Oh, Ira Levin. Oh, that might be why. That might be why that's familiar to me. It's from an Ira Levin book. Oh, okay. All right. Maybe that's where I heard of it. That sounds like a good movie. That's some pretty good star power there. Let's see here. So director Roman Polanski, writer Ira Levin, and then Roman Polanski for the screenplay. Mia Farrow, she's a pretty major actress back in the day. Let's see. Charles Grodin. Wow. Derville Martin. This has definitely got the late 60s and early 70s written all over it. I might have to go watch this. Says it's considered horror. It says drama horror. So I'm gonna say horror. I'm gonna say it's horror. But yeah, I mean that's what I'm kind of interested in watching. I was looking at some Ira Levin books recently. I have one Sliver. I got it because of the movie that came out in like the 90s. And I always wanted to read the book. And so I picked up the book, I think at Goodwill or something like that. And I have it in my collection. I just never got around to reading it. But Ira Levin books definitely are intriguing to me. So I'm going to go ahead and say horror. But I'm guessing knowing Ira Levin a little bit, his type of story, it's probably as much suspense as it is horror or thriller as it is horror. So yeah, that A-track. I should have kept it. Man, I could have sold that. I wonder how much that thing go. I can't even imagine how much that thing goes for on eBay here. Let's just hold on a second. Let's just see while we're at it here, and we're totally digressing. Let me go ahead and check here. There's an 8-track player. What is an 8-track player? So, not as much as I thought. Okay. Oh, that one that I just showed you for $395 plus $27 shipping and handling. So, yeah, look at that, man. Maybe $300-400 that I could have picked up there if I would have kept that. So, too bad I didn't understand too bad I couldn't have foreseen eBay coming way back in the day. I mean, how much money could I be making now with some of the stuff that we just threw away because we got tired of it back in the day. So if only I had the foresight to understand eBay. All right. Or to, if I would have invented it, then man, I'd be big time right now, right? But how many of us can say that about any number of things? All right. So let me go and jump back into a sprint. Appreciate everybody coming through and asking questions. Continue to drop questions and conversation points in the chat, and then we can pick it back up here in about 15 minutes. It is 11:18 a.m. Eastern time, so not sure where you guys are, but I am in the big mitten, the big left mitten, or right, depending on if you're looking at your palm. Okay, so add that to the stream right there. And I'm going to go ahead and get the party started with sprint number 2. So happy sprinting, everybody. If you got stuff you still want to talk about, let me know. Happy to get to it and chat with you guys. I'll be here till at least about noon. So at least another 40, 41 minutes. So, all right, with that, let's hit start. Okay, so for me, I got in 409 words despite being distracted for a good chunk of the sprint because I was doing other things. I had something pop up um, on my chat. People were trying to chat with me on Facebook. So you know how that goes. I have to use Facebook a lot for work because that's the nature of my job. And it's also a good way to communicate with some people. I don't post a ton on Facebook except for some of my photography, but it is kind of nice to be able to chat with some people. So that's kind of a cool thing. Let's see what everybody's. Oh, Margaret, welcome, welcome, welcome. Like Steph, I smile every time I see you join. So thank you for joining. When did you just do a live like yesterday, or were you doing it today? I think I saw your tweet. So we need there needs to be like somebody needs to invent like a booktube app so that we all know when each other is going live. I just miss so many of my favorite booktubers. I miss so many of them when they're going live, and so we need a solution to this issue here. So, oh, you guys are getting some snow out in your way. It's supposed to snow. I got an alert from the Weather Channel that says that it's supposed to like start snowing again. It did snow yesterday morning, so Friday morning it did snow. Thursday night, Friday morning it did snow, and I don't know, we got like an inch or so of snow, but we're supposed to get some more coming our way. So I think it's just supposed to be mostly like maybe 1 or 2 inches. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. I did it yesterday, and you've been tagged in a book tag. Ooh, okay, I'll go and check it out. I'm game. I'm game. I'm down with the book tag game. So yeah, let me go and check that out. I was on the radio last night because I broadcast basketball games, college basketball games. So I was on the radio yesterday, and so I did not have an opportunity to catch up with my booktube. And then by the time I got home and had a little something for dinner, I was pretty much bodied after that, and I just went to bed. So yeah, that's how that went. All right, let's see. Yeah, two of my favorites. We should. Hey, I'm down. Yeah, yeah, let's do it. I'm down. Yeah. Just let me know. My schedule is pretty open, so there's a few times a week where I have some things going on at night. But generally speaking, I'm fairly available and flexible. So yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's see. Snow for 3 days straight. Wow. What's your accumulation? Are you guys getting a significant accumulation here that you have to dig yourselves out of? Let's see. Or writing sprint. Yeah, I'm down with either one. I'm having a good reading year so far. I mentioned it before. I have 12 of my 55 pledged books read for the year. So I'm off to a really good start. I think that puts me at like 22%. So I might actually end up increasing my goal since I'm just a man on a mission right now. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm down though. If you guys want to do together, it's like we gotta form our own group. We gotta like become like the super friends. We gotta form our own group here, and then everybody will be jealous. Everybody will be hating on us, and then they'll want to join our group. And then we can let other people join, and we can expand our empire. So let's see. My balcony accumulation is about 4 or 5 inches. Okay, that's pretty significant. I'm not scientific, and our forecasts are always wrong. So, that's we're stacking up right now. Because what we've had, we got a lot of snow, and then it melted. Then we got a lot of snow, and then once February hits, that's when we start to get here. We start to get like, you know, temperatures in like the single digits and negative temperatures, and so we're at that stage of February, the mid-February mark, where the temperatures get pretty ugly, and so the snow that you have there is basically going to be there probably until early March. So unless we get hit with a heat wave here in the end of February, so. Uh, Let's see. World domination. Yes. Yes. You guys are not as old as me, but the old cartoon Voltron. It's like the five lions come together and they form Voltron, defender of the universe. So you guys are younger than me, so you guys might not know about that. But that's what YouTube is for. Go look up Voltron, defender of the universe. But yeah, I mean, I'm down. I'm just one of the goals I did set for the year is I did want to be more collaborative. So I've got a couple of good ideas for collaboration. One of them is to share our most anticipated read of the month. So that would be early in a month. And then our best read of the month, which would obviously be at the end of the month. So let's see. Yes, Voltron. I was on a run watching Voltron. When was that? It was like when the pandemic was really hitting its stride, probably last summer, and everybody was like basically barricaded inside. And for some reason, YouTube was serving me Voltron. So it was serving me the old Voltron with the lions, and then the Voltron with the cars. I don't like the cars as much. I like the Voltron with the lions. So yeah, I was watching Voltron. I just love it. And then I went on eBay, of course, and I tried to see if I could buy the Voltron that I remembered from back in the day, but it costs like a fortune. So if I get to be a billionaire someday, I'm going to go on eBay and I'm just going to go ham getting all the stuff that I couldn't get because I couldn't afford it. So Voltron, defender of the universe. Oh, yeah, you guys really should connect on. You guys are two of the really good ones on Twitter. So you guys should definitely connect. We can definitely work on that. Oh, how I remember those days. I hope you're doing well. When I turned 30, it was kind of like 30 was like 30 turning 30 was like one of those times where I just sat down and I kind of took stock of where I was, and I started to think about like goals, like did I reach goals? And it was like in some ways it was like really good to start to reflect of what had been and what could be. And so 30 was an interesting age for sure. 40, that was an interesting age as well, though not quite as dramatic as 30 for me. No, I'm not 50, so I'm not quite that old yet. But I can kind of see it down the hall. No, I'm not that close. But anyway, 40 was an interesting age too. But 30 was that age where I was like really looking at a lot of things. So Captain Planet. Ooh, I'm better with the things over Captain Planet, though, I must say. Margaret does look, yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. I totally agree. So, yeah. Let's see. 30 was a great age. 30s are good. Yeah, I agree. 30s were. Oh, I'm going to get too deep into this, but 30s were a good time for me. I kind of started to turn into a more positive direction. in my 30s, and I started to have a better time in my 30s. So it was a really really good time. So I would say, Steph, just enjoy it big time. The 30s are a great time, just to, you're still young, that there's just so much that you can still do, but you've learned the lessons of 30 years, and you can start to apply those lessons while still being young enough to enjoy so many of the good things in life. So the 30s are a great, great, great time. Oh, you are so sweet. I will say, for being just past mid 40s, I feel pretty good. I'm not as wrinkly as I thought. The hair doesn't grow quite like it used to, which is unfortunate. That was a tough one for me, and that started when I crossed over to 40s, and the hair just was like, all right, we're gonna pack it in. It's been a nice run, but it's time to let go and look to the future. So that was when my hair just kind of folded the tent on me a little bit. Let's see. It's the happiness diet. Yes. And that was again for 30s. That was one of the things that for me really helped, is to focus on happiness. And I can see Margaret's getting ready to say something that I was that I was going a little bit more directly. I find that life is just getting better. It is, and it can, especially in the 30s. Again, I know I keep saying it, but the 30s are a great, great time. I think for women too, it's when we stop giving a yep. It does, and I wouldn't even say just for women, but I would say just in general. As you get older, you start to realize what's important and what's not important, and in the 20s, things in your 20s, things that seem really important are very different than things that seemed important when you were in your teens. When I was in my teens, like I was into shoes and clothes. um Material stuff was just so important. And my mom laughs at me now, because now I'm like one of the most frugal shoppers ever. I buy shoes when they're on sale. I buy clothes when they're on sale. I don't care about name brands anymore. I just get what I like now, what looks good, and what looks good to my wallet and my bank account. And so those are just things that you learn as you get to be a little bit older. So yes. High five. So I think we got our little block here. I think we got our team here. We're ready to form Voltron. We got to get our little Voltron keys here, so we can activate the lions here. Isn't that what they had on Voltron? They had their little key that was on like their chest or something like that, and they could form Voltron. So we got our little Voltron keys, so we can do that. But yeah, I mean, just enjoy it and just have fun with it, because it's just, life is just so precious, and enjoy those 30s. I stressed out about so much stuff in my 20s, and I'm like, I look at it now and I'm just like, um, oh, look at you guys are out here tweeting already. Look at you guys, man. I'm proud of you guys, man. Look at you. You guys are killing it. I love it. You guys are killing it. We should get something regular going. We should get something regular going that can have some fun out there. Steph is in demand though. People like collaborating with Steph, and I totally get it. And Margaret too. Margaret's involved in a lot of stuff too. Man, hopefully you guys will bring me up to your level, man, because you guys are involved in a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, just throw me the line, and I'll just climb the rope here and just see how much higher I can go up here with you guys to get up to your guys' level here. So let me see here. Great discussion. A shoe. I tell you what, I don't know if I wouldn't say I was necessarily a shoe hoarder, but I do know people that are shoe hoarders, like big time shoe hoarders, people that are or collectors, they would call it. I'm just not really about that. Now I'm just about practical. Like I'm looking. I'm like, okay, what's on sale? Well, also I wear like a size 14 or 15, so I don't have at my shoe size. I'm not allowed to be probably as picky as some other people with smaller shoe sizes. So sometimes we have to take what we can get. So that's one of the unfortunate things. But that's a good way sometimes to find good deals because there's not as many of us out there, and so they kind of I don't know if discriminate against us is the right word, but it's usually like, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that in your size. Um, but we can special order it for you if you'd like to come back in 3 months. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. All right, let's see. Did you keep shoes in pristine shape without ever wearing them for no? Well, let me put it this way. When I remember when I got the first generation of Air Jordans, when they were $60, and my mom and dad thought that was absolutely outrageous to pay $60 for a pair of shoes back in the day. So think about that now. Process that. It was $60 for a pair of Air Jordans. And I kept those shoes so clean. They got a scratch. If you've ever seen the Spike Lee movie Do the Right Thing, and remember the scene where the white guy in the Larry Bird jersey, he scuffs the guy's shoes, and then it starts this whole big thing. It's actually a really funny scene, but I used to really take care of them. But then it's after a while because like we weren't rich, so if you invest in a pair of shoes, like especially a $60 pair of shoes, eventually you're gonna have to wear them. So after a while, it's like when you first get them, you're like, oh, they're so precious. You just love them. You just don't want them to get scuffed at all, and you're just like cleaning them every night. And then after a while, it's like, whatever, man. Until you can talk your parents into the next pair of shoes or earn the next pair of shoes, as it were. Let's see. I think the best part of being in the book community is building relationships. It's all about having a good time. Yeah, it is. It is. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get into this. When I first started, when I first started this particular channel, and this was kind of like, it was going to be my backup channel. And there was another reason I did it. I wanted to start something new, and I was going to transition from my other channel, which I didn't necessarily want to use as a channel. I just wanted it to be able to watch YouTube videos on it. And so I got YouTube Premium on it, and I just wanted to use it basically for that, so I could just watch videos. And then I created this channel as a backup. And then I started thinking, man, I do a lot of reading and writing. And I started looking out there, and I saw people that were doing books on reading and writing. I thought, man, that's really cool. I'll do it. And then I realized that there was a BookTube community, and then there was an AuthorTube community. And, I started, slowly connecting with people over time. So that was kind of a cool thing. But yeah, I would say building relationships is a big part of it. Let's see. Colorful shoes was my priority. It's very interesting. Colorful shoes were actually pretty cool. I mean, certain types of colors would just jump out at you. Practicality was a priority. See, it is for me now. Like now, it's like, man, if it's not on sale at the right price, I won't do it. I'll definitely. Oh yeah, you know what? We had one here in town, and I used to go to it, and I felt so bad because people weren't going to it. And then you could just kind of see the trends nationally, and a lot of brick and mortar stores. It just really is just hard for them to compete. And so, and then and this is before the pandemic, the demise of Payless and places like Radio Shack for electronics. It's just a different time, and being able to buy so much off the internet is probably the death knell for places like Payless. You could pay more, but why? God, that was so good. Punky Brewster. I loved Punky Brewster. I love that. In fact, I saw it on Amazon Prime, and I was gonna buy it. I was like season 1 of it. I was gonna buy it. I loved Punky Brewster. I thought that was a really cool show. And I mean, I was a guy. I don't know if I was supposed to like it, but I did like it. It was just it was a cool show. I mean, there was some, like a lot of certain types of shows. It was, it had the really good life lessons. that you could take from the show. But it was just really cool. The characters were really cool. The contrast between the George Gaines character and the Punky Brewster character was just really cool. Such a unique relationship. And the what's the girl's name? Sherry Johnson, I think is her name. She's got a YouTube channel, and every once in a while, I watch her YouTube channel, and I look at her, and I'm like, she looks almost exactly the way she did back in the day. It's just really interesting. Yeah, it's amazing. It's like you could just picture. This is like something Kurt Vonnegut would probably write about. It's just like you imagine like in like 30 years, if the planet hasn't been obliterated, you feel like there's going to be like 3 people that control everything in the whole world. I mean, we're probably getting pretty close to that right now. It's probably like 30 people that control everything. Let's see. Yes, I hit the clearance and yeah, absolutely, man. I go to Goodwill a lot more. I'll give you an example, like some home decor that I have. Not necessarily the crappy looking fake plant behind me, but some home decor like signs and things that you go on like Amazon and it costs like $20 for like a small little sign that you can hang around your house to look like somebody lives in it. And you go on like eBay and it's like, or eBay, maybe eBay too, but you go on like Amazon, it's like $20-30. You go to Goodwill, pick up like $3-4. And I'm like, that's a good deal, like things like pots and pans. You just go to Goodwill and pick up some really cool stuff. But I've gone to Goodwill. I went to Goodwill a few times during the summer. And it was different. I think they were limiting the amount of people that could come in at a time. And then, of course, you got to wear masks. Pretty much going into anywhere, you got to wear masks. But yeah, I like Goodwill. I don't know about see shoes and clothes. I've never really. No, I take that back. I think I have. A lot of times I go to Goodwill, you get great books. I mean, you get like books for like a quarter, 50 cents. If you go to a Goodwill in like a larger urban area, you can get really good books for like 25 cents. Because some people, unlike a lot of us booktubers, some people read a book, they read it, I'm done. They go and drop it in the basket at Goodwill and let somebody else read it. So, yeah, a lot of times you get some really, really good books at Goodwill. If you come, there was one lady I went in Goodwill and I came in just behind her and she went to the book section and she filled this grocery cart with just books, all kinds of books. And she must have bought I think like $70 worth of books at like 25, 50 cents a pop. And the person I was with, they were like, why would she do that? And I said, you buy it here for 25 cents and you go and you sell it on Amazon for 25 cents plus $3.99 shipping and handling, or $1 plus $3.99 shipping and handling. You sell like a quarter of those books and you make all your money back and then some. So I'm like, yeah, that's a good deal. Unfortunately, she took some books that I wanted, but that's another story. Taco Bell. I Taco Bell. I've seen Demolition Man in a long time. Long time. I need to see that again. That's one I haven't seen in a long time. Let's see. I'm too dangerous around thrift bookstores. It is, I will say, and I don't, let's see. What is it? The one thing I will say about that with thrift bookstores is that one of the things you can run into is you see so many books and then you start to see books that you don't necessarily want, or that you kind of like, kind of interested. And then you just, let's just throw that one in the bag. It's only 50 cents. Well, let's throw that one in the basket. It's only 25 cents. Let's get this one too, 50 cents. And all of a sudden you got like a basket full of books, and a lot of times you end up not reading them. So I try to be not just looking for a good buy, but try to get something that I actually want. Because I don't want my house is like not really turning into a used bookstore yet, but it's getting kind of in the neighborhood. of that as time goes on. But yeah, there's some good options out there, and Goodwill is a good place to go. Another couple stores like that around that you can go to. So let's see. Okay, Steph had to call the Twitter chat. The A Team. So, question of the day: which A Team character are you? Oh, the A Team. Oh man, I love the A Team. Oh, that just takes me back to me and my dad just sitting around watching the A Team. Man, that's which A Team character? Man, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like a blend of like a few of them. I'm like almost a blend of all of like Hannibal, a little bit of Hannibal, a little bit of Face, and a little bit of BA. But yeah, I'm like, I don't have the chiseled good looks of a Face, Dirk Benedict, but I don't know. Maybe that's more in my mind, my imagination, than in reality. So I don't know. But I like that though, the A Team. Yeah, we gotta definitely get something going here. Let's see. I want to be howling mad Murdoch, but you're more like one of these days that we ever meet, I'm definitely looking forward to shaking your hand. We'll do it safely. We'll wear gloves or something like that. But yeah, Mr. T's character, B.A. Baracus, was really, really cool. That was fun, man. He was, oh gosh, it's just so, you think back to how big Mr. T was back then. He had done Rocky 3 and he was just on fire. And then A Team came right after that, and then he got involved in professional wrestling for a second. I used to be a big professional wrestling fan back in the 80s when I was a kid. So it was that was a lot of fun, and then Mr. T crossed over and WrestleMania and all that stuff going on. So it was kind of cool to do that. Murdoch was just hilarious. I always busted him out of the what was the psychiatric hospital he was in, and everybody had their little quirks. Mr. T's character didn't like to fly, and it was just kind of. And I think they always had to drug him or something like that to like give him a shot of something or whatever to get him to go on an airplane or something like that. And then of course they were always on the run, so that was kind of fun too. Man, you got me missing that now. Now I'm feeling like nostalgic for watching the A Team. I have to see if that's available on. Man, you'd think it'd be available on something like Amazon Prime or maybe Hulu or something like that. I watched the remake of the movie and I just wasn't feeling the movie remake. But then again, I said the same thing about some other movies that they remade that just didn't have that same love and feeling. It's got to be honest about it. Just yeah. Sometimes they they do movie remakes of TV shows from like the 80s, and you're just kind of like, I think you missed the essence of what the show was all. One was I know this is going to be controversial. People hear me say I like this, but one was like Dukes of Hazzard. Like when they did the movie of Dukes of Hazzard, and I was kind of like, I think they missed what it was really all about. The Karate Kid, when they remade the Karate Kid with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan, that was not the worst one I've ever seen. So I won't be too harsh on that one. I'm trying to think of some other ones that they remade. I always wanted to see the remake of Stephen King's It. I saw the original series like from the 80s or maybe 90s. I think it was the 80s. But I have not seen the remake of It. So I never read the book It either by Stephen King. It's the 80s soundtrack that was missing, I bet. Yeah, I mean that's probably part of it. Yeah, it's just it's just not the same. I think when a lot of modern directors think of TV shows from the 80s, I think they try to make them like goofier than what they actually were back in the day. And so I think they sometimes mess it up by trying to make it kind of goofy and weird, I think that's the way people think that they saw it. Um, I used to enjoy Dukes of Hazzard back in the day. It was also, oh, it's interesting you mentioned Little House on the Prairie. So about a week or so ago, I was watching the final movie. I think it's called The Last Farewell, where they blow up the whole town because some developer is just trying to take over their town, and I watched that and I was like, man, that was a really good movie. It was kind of a sad and uplifting ending at the same time, but yeah, Little House on the Prairie was really good. It was good. I enjoyed that when I was a kid. Again, another one of those shows with life lessons. Yeah, I did like the Dukes of Hazzard though. That was man, I used to stay up and watch the Dukes of Hazzard, and then I would stay up and watch Dallas. I probably shouldn't have been watching Dallas because now you look at it and you see how much adult content was in Dallas back in the day, and I'm like, when I was a really young kid, it just kind of went over your head, and now you look back and you're like, man, it's one of those things where like they talk about like things that only adults noticed when they watched fill in the blank, whatever show from back in the day, like Saved by the Bell. I saw a video about that. Things that only adults noticed in Saved by the Bell. Let's see. I didn't see the newest Karate Kid, but I did see the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank, and it was it? Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. The next Karate Kid. Yeah. I mean, I get where they were going with that. The Karate Kid series. It just went downhill. Like they to me, they got progressively worse. The first one was just outstanding. It was an incredibly simplistic topic. The original Karate Kid, incredibly simplistic topic, yet just brilliantly well done. And then part two was kind of like sort of a natural progression. It wasn't bad. Then part three, it just was like just heading downhill, and they just did not know when to stop. But the next Karate Kid is actually pretty. It's an interesting movie. It just it takes some elements of the first two movies and kind of blends them together and kind of reverses it. Not really reverse it, but it just takes elements of the first two movies and kind of blends it together. Sort of like the 2009 remake of Friday the 13th, which I'm not a huge fan of, but some people like it. Let's see. They blow up a town in Little House. I don't remember. Yeah, it's a last episode of, I don't know, an episode. It's like a movie, and I think it's called The Last Farewell. And so yeah, there's like a wealthy land developer, and somehow he's got like a deed, and he owns all the he owns all the land that the town is built on, and he basically tells them that, I think he tells them that they have to pay taxes to him or something like that, or they're going to be evicted from the land. And so instead of when they run out of legal options, they just decide, well, you know what, you may own the land, but we own the property. And so they blow up the property, and then they blow up their properties, and then they just run off singing some song at the end. It was actually it's kind of an interesting movie to be sure. Yeah, it's a special movie. Like if you like, I think the show is running on Amazon Prime. I think it is right now. But the movie is separate. It's free right now on Amazon Prime. For those of you who have Amazon Prime, the Pixar of its day. I hadn't thought about it like that, but that is interesting. I had not thought about it like that. Let's see. Yeah, I'm reading Ralph Ellis. Oh, very good. Right now, and then the only other thing Ralph and I know is Ralph Macchio. So the Karate Kid keeps introducing, Ralph Macchio. I just, the Karate Kid it really is such a simplistic story. It's almost like too simplistic to believe that it could take off the way it did. So it's just kind of interesting. But again, it's just sometimes simplistic is what works. They run off singing some song. And what is it is, you know what? It is like if you watch it, it is very Disney like. It's like how can we take this horrible happening, this horrible ending, and yet put a positive spin on it and have them just walk off? It is like it's like a Disney cartoon. It's like, and they just uh onward Christian soldiers, whatever that song is. I can't remember, but I think that's the song they were singing. Um Oh, Steph, you crack me up. Oh, Steph, you're bringing me to tears right now. It really is. It is very. Hadn't thought about that, but it does have some very Disney-like qualities. They're all just like walking off into the sunset, and then the evil guy is just kind of like, "Dang, they really did that." And then I think they brought some other guy that runs some other town that they were getting ready to do it too. And he's like, and the guy's like, "Yeah, if you come to our town, we're gonna blow it up too." So he failed. Like you know how when you in the '80s, like good always triumphs over evil. So that was just very classic '80s. Let's see, Henry George once again. This single tax idea, he keeps cropping up. Let's see. And if the ending didn't match, they changed history. See, Newsies one. Yeah, yeah. Oh man, this is like so good. Just kind of taking me back to history, man. Yeah, Little House on the Prairie, man. Oh man, never thought I'd get into a discussion about Little House on the Prairie on a YouTube live, but this is really cool. I'm gonna put this back up here just because it makes me laugh. This is really good right here. I like this. I like this right here. Steph. She's really, that's funny. I like that. That is very, very Disney-esque. But yeah, it's a lot of fun though. Watching some of those old ones. Um, it's kind of interesting how some TV shows or movies some TV shows just take off and some don't. Um, people love Little House on the Prairie. But what an interesting ending though to the series. So because well, actually, you know what? That just reminded me. So they had Little House on the Prairie, and then they had Little House on the Prairie like the Next Generation or something like that. So it was actually part of the sequel series, if you will. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned or New Beginning or something like that with when the kids were adults. So they kind of went in that direction. So actually, that just reminded me of that. So the movie came at the end of the adult version of the series. Also, random '80s movie trend: white guy goes west, learns martial arts from master, goes to martial arts competition. That is a template that has definitely been used many times. Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme, count him among those. Steven Seagal is another one. Steven Seagal movies were running big in like the late 1980s and early 1990s. Man, Steven Seagal was cranking out a movie he's cranking out like 2 or 3 movies a year, something like that. It seemed it wasn't quite that much, but it was quite a bit. Yeah, Steven Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme, they were among those. Were just cranking out those movies. Where, where the white guy learns karate and destroys the evil empire. Yeah, it does. It is. That was a template that was used more than a few times. Yeah. Goes east. Yeah. It just. Oh man. Well, to be fair, I don't know if that's the right way of saying it. To acknowledge the times, I should say, it was post Bruce Lee, and so everybody was into like martial arts stuff. So in the early '80s, everybody was trying to make everybody was trying to become the next Bruce Lee to try to fill that void, and so you had all these martial arts movies, and then they kind of like Americanized it to put it in like an urban setting with the Steven Seagals and the Jean-Claude Van Dammes of the world. Let's see. With all of our heroes bringing down evil enterprises, why is it so rare in real life? Yeah. Whew. Some people would say that happened on election day last year, though. I'm just kidding. I didn't mean to get political, but yeah, I mean, it is a lot harder in real life to take down the evil empire. It kind of works in Star Wars and in other movies, and not to mention different karate films. So it does happen sometimes. See how much fun we could have if we were all here chatting and you guys were right here with me. We could just be having a grand old time. So that's why we got to pull this together so we can chat it up and have a good time talking about any of a variety of topics: reading, writing, art, even politics, I guess, if you want to. You know, I don't really talk politics on Facebook, though. Although everybody else, not everybody else, a lot of other people I know on Facebook talk a lot of politics. I mean, a ton. Like everything is like, you know, thanks Obama, you know. So yeah. Let's see. Because we all walk in the sunset without waiting. Yeah, exactly. They do. It is so true. It is so true, man. They do. Yeah, I mean, it's a trip. You know, people just, oh gosh. There's a whole nother discussion you can get into with politics and political identity and what it does to people, to relationships, to the country, to the world. That's a whole different discussion. So that made me think about this is I thought about this a few years ago when I read The President is Missing, and James Patterson and President Bill Clinton wrote the book. They collaborated on the book. They're actually collaborating on another book, I think The President's Daughter or something like that, which I pre-ordered. But anyway, The President is Missing. People were those two collaborated on that book, and a lot of people were going on. They were hating on the book because they hated Bill Clinton. And so I'm sitting there like, man, look at all these negative reviews. And I realized that people just hated Bill Clinton. So a lot of people hated Bill Clinton. So they were just like hating on this book. But I finally read it because I like reading books that people speak out against, especially if it sounds interesting. And we talked about this with American Dirt, and how a lot of people did not like that book for certain reasons. And then I said, well, I'm going to read it anyway because you saying you hate on it, and it sounds good to me. That's all the incentive I need to read it. So that might make a good marketing strategy for people marketing books. But anyway, when I saw that book, I read it. And I'm like, that was a good book. The President is Missing. Bill Clinton and James Patterson wrote that. It's one of like a bazillion books that James Patterson has written during his career. And I mean, he's pretty close to a bazillion books. Let's see his conversation. And we're all about having fun over here. So, I mean, you know, everybody have fun tonight. I don't know. However that song went. Let's see. Taking a grad course right now on how to teach prejudice reduction. It's hard to talk about any societal issue without touching on political. It is. I mean, everything for some people comes back to politics. Whether that is a natural leap or it is a leap, a forced leap. It's amazing how often it does. Everything comes back to politics. You know, you have athletes that are protesting systemic racism, and then it comes back to politics. Kneeling for the national anthem against systemic racism is made to be, you know, anti-American or anti-troops or anti-whatever. So, yeah, that's an interesting course. I'd be curious how that course goes for you, because it is very difficult. And I think social media, it'd be interesting what social media, how that comes up in the course of your course, because I think social media has exacerbated maybe some of the partisanship and made it easier to be partisan without really any accountability. You can just make a comment and then just dip out of the discussion. Um, again, without any accountability, you don't have to be factual. So I would say again, in facts, fact versus opinion in journalism. I enjoy reading problematic books. I enjoy finding out why. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I think maybe you and I have discussed this too, and maybe Margaret too. We discussed this. But when I see a book that's being banned, for example, The Hate You Give, when when I read The Hate You Give, I saw it as a pretty straight. It was a well told story. Very very good, well told story. I read it. I liked it. I thought it was really good. And then at some point after reading it and then watching the movie, I started seeing that it was being banned by a lot of school districts. That it was being banned in a lot of towns. That people, and I was kind of like, really, And again, some people see it as anti-police, which again, and then that is just how you take that leap that you guys are talking about right now back to politics. So everything somehow people try to bring it back to politics, and then your political identification, and that's one of the things that makes even basic conversations so difficult these days. So yeah, 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 yeah. Thanks for helping me out there. Social media is something we discuss as far as deciphering facts, understanding implicit bias, and what determines a reliable source of information. That's a whole course right there. Um, wow. And I think we've seen that with the presidential election, the run up to and since the presidential election, and the power that social media can have, and the responsibility of social media. This is something that would be good for my public relations channel. It's actually an interesting discussion, but the power and the responsibility that social media organizations have, and we've seen Jack Dorsey from Twitter and Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook, testifying before Congress, and one of the topics coming up, was their responsibility to police content and to decide factual information and what to do to stop the intentional spread of misinformation. So, interesting topic for sure. Rally. I took my students on a field trip to see them. They see that movie. If they can relate to the subject, I feel it's a duty to give them a safe space to do that. Absolutely, absolutely. Do you go? Do you go into social media silos? Um, yeah, yeah. It's social media. It really does. That's be interesting to see if you guys did go into that, but it does. Um, it does silo quite a bit. Um, um, hold on a second. Let me do this real quick. I'm going to show this to you guys real quick. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. So let me pull that up so you guys can read it. So in late 27, this is just a simple The Hate You Give banned. This is just simple. In late 2017, The Hate You Give was banned by school officials in Katy, Texas, where it was challenged for inappropriate language. District Superintendent Lance Hint pulled the book from shelves during the review process in violation of the school's own review policies, claiming he did so because of its pervasive. Oh, see, now I got to read the rest of it now. Let's go and read the rest of it. Let's see. Um, because its pervasive vulgarity and racially insensitive language, not its substantive content or the viewpoint expressed. I'm going to call BS on that one. That is just absurd. They probably also read Huckleberry Finn, despite its language, I'm sure. Let's see. Although that is a book that is quite often banned by some people. But yeah, I mean, oh, how about this? The Hate You Give appears to be on track for a spot on next year's top 10 challenged and banned book list. This summer, the book was challenged alongside Jason Reynolds and Brendan Kiley's acclaimed All American Boys. I have that book. I need to read that. I do have that book. Um, okay, so some it looks like some police unions didn't like that particular book. So yeah, banned books. Yeah, exactly. Hang on. Inappropriate language is an excuse to cover other things. Yep. Yeah, it is. It is. It is. That's a if you were from a public relations standpoint, if you were trying to craft a message to hide what your real intent is, this is how you would do it. This is exactly how you would do it. That's exactly how you would describe it right there. Um, let's be realistic here. I mean, again, pervasive vulgarity and racially insensitive language, not its substantive content or the viewpoint expressed. I mean, come on. Does anybody really believe that? No, no, no. It's of course it's about the content. But I saw another one. Let me see if I can find it. There was another one where it was talking about some people saw it as being anti-police. Okay, let's see. Let's look at this real quick. Okay. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, the K-State Book Network's 2018-2019 Common Read has been banned and challenged because it features elements of police brutality, profanity, racism, drug use, and violence. So portraying racism is offensive. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So um yeah, exactly. Huckleberry Finn. A lot of these people, a lot of the people that want to ban books like The Hate You Give, um, they're the same ones that grew up reading books like Huckleberry Finn. Let's just look at some of these books. A lot of these books too that are banned. If you notice, a lot of them really have to do more with. Okay, I gotta shrink this down here a little bit, so let me scroll. A lot of them have to do with Native American, showing the atrocities that happened to Native Americans. A lot of them have to do with dealing with racism. A lot of them have to do with religious reasons. To Kill a Mockingbird. There you go. That's another one that's often banned. Um, but yeah, maybe not as much. I think people have come around a little bit more on To Kill a Mockingbird over the years. Um, I think part of it is, I don't know. I have some theories about that. Um, but that is a great point, Steph. When you have the savior um, story, and I think that's probably one of the oldest examples of the savior story. I've heard some people that have mixed feelings about what's the name of the movie? The Blind Side, about Michael Orr, the football player, and he was brought in by the white family, the affluent white family, affluent white family, and they kind of set him on the path toward good things, and so so a lot of people raise that issue. Um, Texas, yeah, it's just amazing. Let's see here. Let me catch up on here. Circling us back to the respectability of politics and hood. Yeah, I want to check that out too. I want to check out hood feminism. I've heard more and more people talking about that. You see. Yeah. Oh, LGBTQ. I mean, as you start to look at these, look at this one right here. Heather has two mommies. Um, Annie on my mind. You can see a lot of these again. LGBTQ. It's just really interesting to see, you know, the patterns behind some of the books that are banned. Let's see. Still on a mission to make my Just Mercy required reading. Oh yeah, I need to read that. I'm glad you reminded me about that. I do want to check that out. I do want to check that out. I'll be curious to see if you you know if you run into resistance, and if so, how what type of resistance and how is the resistance framed? Because I think that that is a very interesting topic. Okay, here's a list right here of some banned and challenged books here. The Great Gatsby, The Catcher in the Rye. I have heard about that. I heard about that when I read The Catcher in the Rye in high school. The Grapes of Wrath, To Kill a Mockingbird, the aforementioned To Kill a Mockingbird. The Color Purple. The Color Purple. Wow. Lord of the Flies. Let's see. Let's go to the site here. Oh, this has got some backstory behind this too. The Grapes of Wrath, burned by the East St. Louis Library and barred from the Buffalo, New York Public Library on the grounds that vulgar words were used. Okay, again, this was the 1930s, but still. But then here, banned in Iowa from classes in the 1980s, early 1980 apparently. Banned in Morris, Manitoba, Canada, 1982. Challenged in the Union City, Tennessee high school classes in 1993. To Kill a Mockingbird has been people have been going out against that since the 1970s, and this is probably by no means a controversial list or a comprehensive list. Excuse me, it is a controversial list. The Color Purple. I'm not surprised. I haven't heard that much about The Color Purple being banned, but I'm not surprised. The other one I read that I heard was banned. I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. I've heard that one was subject to being banned. Wow, this is amazing. This is just incredible. 1984 by George Orwell, challenged in the Jackson County, Florida, because Orwell's novel is pro-communist and contained explicit sexual matter. 1981, people. 1981. Let me catch up on your comments here. In my job, the teachers are allowed to select the supplemental text. We have chosen most of the books on the ban. Good for you. Good for you. Let people make their own judgments. Don't let parents don't have to make every judgment for kids. Oh yeah, I can imagine. Banned books in prisons, Nazy. I can imagine that things that they do not want people exposed to. Well, it's just again like there was a time a couple hundred years, not even a couple hundred years ago, where they didn't want people to be able to read. People of color didn't want you to read. You know. Cat's going crazy. Doesn't like all the banning discussion. Yeah, it's just it is. I have to look that up. When is banned book week? Because there's someone here that I need to. I read Of Mice and Men. I've read Lolita before. I've read 1984. Man, I must be a backslider. I've read a lot of these. Brave New World. I read that. Animal Farm, I read that. Haven't read a lot of Ernest Hemingway. Any of you guys have read a lot of Ernest Hemingway? Ralph Ellison, Invisible Man. There you go, Margaret. Excerpts banned in Butler, Pennsylvania, 1975. Removed from high school English reading list in St. Francis, Wisconsin, 1975. Toni Morrison's got a couple on this list. Native Son by Richard Wright. That's one I was getting ready to read. I've never read it. I've got 2 copies of it I found. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Have read a bit. Yeah, that was my impression of Ernest Hemingway. So that's good to know. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, definitely one I want to read. Slaughterhouse-Five, read that one in the last year or so. I read that one. Banned in Rochester, Michigan, because the novel contains and makes references to religious matters, and thus fell within the ban of the Establishment Clause. An appellate court upheld its usage in the school in Todd versus Rochester Community Schools. Wow. Banned in Fitzgerald, Georgia schools in 1987 because it was filled with profanity and full of explicit sexual references. Oh boy. Let's see if there's any other ones. Go Tell It on the Mountain, James Baldwin. Lord of the Rings. I've never read Lord of the Rings by Tolkien. A Clockwork Orange. I've always wanted to read that one. Let me see here. Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. That means he was doing something right. The book is very scary. Yeah, it is. It is. You have to confess that. Let's see if there's anything. Satanic Verses by. I'm not surprised that a lot of people ban that one. They banned that one just from the title alone. Cat's Cradle. I talked about that one. I read that one. A Separate Peace. I read that in high school. Why is that one? Are you ready for this? Challenged in Vernon, Verona, Sherrill, New York School District, 1980, as a filthy, trashy sex novel. I have to admit, I didn't get that from it, but I guess it probably is. There are probably elements of it in there that are probably fall in line with that. Hemingway's short stories are better than his novels, in my opinion. Yeah, see, if I was going to dip my toe in the Hemingway, I would probably start with shorter stories. Wonder how these banned list makers would feel knowing my high school English teacher gave me The Stand to read as wow, is that right? Yeah, probably. You see what you want to see. That is very, very true. I'm really curious about A Separate Peace. Let's see what else. What other crazy things? Contains offensive language, unsuitable language. Challenged by a parent of a high school student in Troy, Illinois, citing profanity and negative attitudes. Profanity and negative attitudes. Students were offered alternative assignments while the school board took the matter under advisement, but no further action was taken on the complaint. Another one banned it for graphic language. 1996, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Yeah. What a list. What a list. Man, oh man. And I'm sure this is by no means a comprehensive list either. So yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right. So Margaret, you said you gave us the date. I think you said September for banned book. So all right, everybody, let's get our game going for September. So we can partake in banned books, because I am definitely going to be reading some banned books. I'm not even just going to wait till September. I'm going to be reading them before September as well, because I mean, this is just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. Um, some of the reasons are just absolutely flimsy, to be honest. Okay, gang, I gotta go. I gotta read some more Invisible Man for the day. See you on Twitter. Have a great weekend. Definitely, thanks for coming through. And yeah, let's huddle up and let's form Voltron. So I'll shoot you guys a message so we can get this party started. I am definitely over my time. I need to get going too. I got to make some lunch and then I got to get ready for some stuff that I have. I got to go on the radio to call some basketball games or a basketball game this afternoon. So I am definitely looking forward to that. September sounds like a plan. Get our band books on. I've got a bunch of them already in my collection. So you can see how broad based. I guess anything, if you're offended by bad language, that can put a lot of things on your banned book list. So, yes, Margaret, thank you for coming through. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody. I'm going to get ready to sign off. Outstanding discussion with some of my favorite people in the world. And I look forward to chatting with you guys again. I will be back here tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, right here. And I will be doing some more writing, chatting, maybe even some reading. I'll update you guys on what I am currently reading. So with that, everybody have a great rest of your day. Be safe, have fun, read, write, do whatever brings pleasure to you, as long as it's legal. Talk to you guys later. Peace.